All right, back again, my people, with another video. This is Onside with me, Joshua. Hello to that you come up and net you come up. The transfer market is very vibrant. A number of deals happening here and there. I'll be taking you through the biggest stories that are coming up from your favorite club. But before we do that, please subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications so that anytime I drop a video, you're going to be one of the first people to receive it, and we can build a successful community over here. We'll talk about football, we'll talk about transfers, we'll talk about the game that we love the most, and we'll make it count as much as possible. Now, so many things happening in the transfer market, and I received a message and na obi pese ohun the Victor Osimhen to Chelsea, whether there was something happening between the two parties, and I'll tell you the reason why Victor Osimhen will not be joining Chelsea this particular summer. I'll be giving you a couple of reasons why that will not happen. Of course, I know Chelsea for no be brave na person who say another marquee signing to demonstrate the fact that we are good for this season. But the thing is that at this point, even if you're going to make a signing, I don't think it's going to be in the forward line. Yeah, because already now, Tiani said Chelsea will Danny Welbeck will signing, and it will be confirmed latest by the weekend. Then we also have a Liam Delap available. I think Chelsea for now are looking for a very good offer for him to go. At this moment, it looks like Everton for now are leading the race to sign him. Then we also have Emmanuel Emega. It will also emerged, said he will leave, but that has not been confirmed, and we haven't received any other news concerning that in Yentimi Enka. Then we also have Joao Pedro. He's available. He's going to be a very key figure for Chelsea in terms of attack this season. Then we have Abrante FN and Nicholas Jackson, who may be on his way to Aston Villa. Already he has joined the preseason, but it's very likely, say, if the offer is able to be finalized, he will leave and go and sign for Aston Villa. So the truth of the matter is that Chelsea have these 5 players in terms of the forward line who are going to be typical strikers. But this season, and with what I am seeing, it looks like Xabi Alonso, he wants to orchestrate something else. He wants to increase chance creation. So that's why he has splashed the cash on players with, say, Morgan Rogers. Because when he gets those players who can create more chances, it will not be difficult to score more goals. So it doesn't really, count, if you ask me, whether we should necessarily go and pick Abrante FN or Victor Osimhen from Galatasaray. But I'll tell you 2 other reasons why that deal will not go through this particular summer. Maybe it could happen later on if Xabi Alonso sees the need for him to come. But as it stands right now, with the kind of signings that Chelsea is making and with the direction that Xabi Alonso wants to take the club, it doesn't look like Victor Osimhen is going to come to Chelsea. In the last few days, we've seen the speculation grow that Victor Osimhen could become a potential signing for Chelsea in this particular summer, but I don't see that happening. Maybe I'll start with that. Another reason why I think Victor Osimhen will not join Chelsea, and it's you see, Chelsea has already made a signing that is over £100 million. So 117 for Morgan Rogers. At this point, Chelsea have at least close to 40 players on their books, and they would have to make sure that they even sell a couple of them before they go back into the market. A few days ago, I think it was just last night, there were reports that Chelsea have reactivated their interest in Abrante and Adam Horton from Crystal Palace. Now, Steve Parish from Crystal Palace had made it clear to Chelsea, say, Adam Horton is not going to leave for anything less than £100 million. It is a open for Adam Horton, £100 million. And they wanted to make sure that they didn't include him in the Maxence Lacroix deal. So it was a separate deal. So we signed Maxence Lacroix for £52 million. And now I was confident that Brentford never joined Chelsea. But as it stands right now, Chelsea want to go back into the market and get another midfielder. So it tells you something about Chelsea's strategy this particular transfer. You want to get more, dominant midfielders, both holding and also attacking, so that we can create more chances and possess the ball more. Because this season, Yambo Champions League, Yambo Europe. So if you are able to retain the ball more, it gives you the opportunity to score more goals and create more chances. So that is the dynamic. And with what is happening right now, Chelsea need to sell a couple of players before we can even go back into the market. So imagine if Chelsea have to spend 100 million on just another single player. It doesn't make sense. Say we'll go and spend another at least 80 to 90 or another possibly 100 million euros on player friend of Victor Osimhen, because as it stands right now, Galatasaray may not release Victor Osimhen for anything less than 100 million euros. I don't think so. Because look at his statistics and look at his performance for Galatasaray, right, in the last 2 seasons, he's been very phenomenal. He's been very exceptional for them. As it stands now, he does not even have a release clause in his contract. So whatever Galatasaray think they value him at is what they're going to sell him for. You get the point? So that is one reason why I think, say, we will not get Victor Osimhen in this particular window. And I don't even really think that that is the direction that Xabi Alonso wants to go, because he has already purchased a brand tier friend of Danny Welbeck from Brighton and Hove Albion, and he'll be confirmed in a few days. So if you have a player of his caliber who is Premier League proven and who is more or less a ready to go player who can play for you, it does not make sense that you would have him and you would also go for Victor Osimhen. It doesn't create enough balance in the team. You are strengthening one side of the team with more than 200 million pounds, let me say, in just one window. And in financial sense, it doesn't really make sense. But like I said, the Chelsea Beton players, maybe some players will go on loan, some players will move permanently. And I think in the next 1 week, let's expect more outgoings than incomings, because Chelsea needs to sell before they can make more purchases. And wait, news are if we Chelsea for now airbar. So keep in mind that Victor Osimhen may not. The chances of Victor Osimhen joining Chelsea this particular summer is very, very slim. It may not happen at all. But Fabrizio Romano is reporting a few minutes ago. I'll bring you the updates from the channel, no, so that we can get the latest happening over there. So just about a few minutes ago, Antonio Silva to Bournemouth is a here we go. Deal now has been signed between the club and the centre back. That is from Benfica to Bournemouth. 25 million euros fixed fee with 5 million euros add-on. Yeah, so the medical for the player is going to be authorized in the next few, I think, hours. Senebeya Benfica for no, they will release Antonio Silva to travel to Bournemouth for his medical. And you see, Bournemouth is at it again. Bournemouth are always smart in the transfer business. So now they sold Antoine Semenyo, right? He went to Team Ayefreno, Manchester City. And once they begin to lose some of their key players, what they do is that they go into the market, most of the time, not even in the Premier League, but outside. Then they try and give them that exposure, get them to gel with the team. Of course, now they don't have Andoni Raiola, who is going to give them that kind of training, But what you can really keep in your mind is that Bournemouth have a certain strategy that they want to implement, right? And it's something that they always use. And you can get that kind of feeling that with the transfer of Abranti Efreno Antonio Silva, no, what they want to do currently is that they want to make sure that they get players who can fit in back into their system. They can grow them and they can have a very good sale from such players, maybe sell on, right? So Antonio Silva like this for 25 plus 5 million. So that's averaging at least something around 30 million euros for the player. By the end of the day, if he comes and he performs within 2 seasons, they can resell this player for close to about 50, 60, 70, 80 million. So that is one smart thing Bournemouth do. When they go into the market, they don't spend so much. But when they spend, they make sure that they get players who have a very good resale value that can be attached to them after 2 years. So Bournemouth for new coach, your friend Marco Rose, you can tell for a fact that he has come with a certain mindset, because he's also a German manager, right? And in the sense that he has coached German teams into a coaching RB Salzburg, we're coaching Borussia Mönchengladbach, he has coached Borussia Dortmund, and he has coached RB Leipzig. So anytime you see a German manager, you need to be very careful, because they have a certain mentality that they normally move with. And when you see them do those things, it means that they have a certain plan, and they are trying to maintain a certain integrity that they have already built with some of the players that they are going to bring in, and also with what the hierarchy of the club, so that is something that's a good piece of business from Bournemouth for. And I think say Antonio Silva coming into the team, he's a centre back, but he's going to give them that experience, he's going to give them that exposure, and it's something that I really think that they'll really benefit from. Let's move to the next story. Into currently, Fabrizio Romano is reported say Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, formerly of Barcelona, he has been announced as the new Ajax player this week, right? He's traveling for his medicals today, and by Saturday they're not signing a contract, Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, the veteran goalkeeper, will be signing for team by friend Ajax. And I mean, he didn't really have a very good, end to his career at Barcelona, and injuries didn't really help him as well. But as it stands now, no, we're making a move, to Ajax, and well, going to Netherlands in the Dutch league, for all you know, it could also be a way of him culminating his career and then just calling it quits after that. And all the best to Abranti, friend Marc-Andre Ter Stegen, wishing him all the very best at Wabra Ofri Barcelona Ajax. Now Newcastle United, they have a new manager in the person of Matthias Jaisle from Al Ahly. Understand that Newcastle for between 11 million euros for the player. And what is going to happen is that he's going to sign until June 2030. And by Saturday, not start contract, must sign it. So let's see how that goes for Newcastle. Of course, I'm not ready to say Eddie Howe with Jai Jumano. He decided to call it quits after 5 years in charge of Newcastle and helping them to win their first major trophy in 70 years. So I brought Liverpool 2-1 in the Carabao Cup final about 2 years ago. Yeah, and that was from Newcastle. And I mean, I can understand at this point, all the Premier League managers who are at the top teams, they have made changes. So this particular season will be something that is going to be worth watching, because Obia, the new manager, but Obia person different way of handling things, and that is going to be something that we are all going to live to see, because now Pep Guardiola's dominance is going to be gone. So which manager is going to exert himself? And every manager or every club wants to do their things. And Newcastle is not an exception, because as it stands, Newcastle United they have made some money from some sales in terms of player transfers between last season and this season. With the introduction of a new coach, Matthias Jaisle, I really think that what he's going to do is to prioritize a couple of signings, go into the market and make sure that he gets certain players whether Premier League proven or not. I believe he'll go into the market. One of his first priorities is to go into the market and reinforce the team to be very competitive next season, because I'm very sure one of the things that new Saudi owners of Newcastle for Bekachano in terms of his achievements that he needs to make is that he needs to maintain a level of status that is maybe from first to fifth. Maybe that will be the target that they will give to him. Say by the time next season, now with team within the first 5 or top 5 or top 6, maybe now qualify for Europe. Those are going to be some of the indicators, some of the requests so that the team itself, that is Newcastle, will be able to do some good job now. So let's keep our eyes on Abranti, our friend Matthias Jaisle, our new coach of Newcastle, arriving from Al Ahly. Now, another thing from that is say Newcastle United will be 11 million euro compensation fee to Al Ahly. So it's more or less like they convinced the manager to come and join them. So if he has to now terminate his contract, and I will say Jenny Juma or Al Ahly, you have to compensate Al Ahly. So they are willing to pay 11 million euros. Wow. And he's going to sign until June 2030. It means Newcastle are ready to splash the cash. And I don't know what they've seen in him. Maybe there are a couple of interesting things about Matthias Jaisle, ABI, and let's see what makes him quite special, because for Newcastle United to pay that amount for Matthias Jaisle, maybe there's something special about him. We have to look at. At Al Ahly, he won back-to-back AFC Champions League elite titles. That was 2024, 25, and 25, 26. And he became the first coach to do that. And Osimhen Saudi Super Cup in 25, 26. That was just last season. Arabra RB Salzburg, coach of RB Salzburg. He's also a German trainer, that's what I say. So he won back-to-back Austrian Bundesliga titles in 2021, 22, and 22, 23. Then he also won the Austrian Cup in 2021-22 season. He guided RB Salzburg to the UEFA Champions League knockout stage for the first time in the club's history. There's something good about him. Yeah. From what I've read, and UTM, you can see that some manager, he has a certain winning mentality that is attached to his credentials. Into the Oba Premier League, it's going to be a different challenge altogether for him. But with what he has done, at least players who said there's a manager who has a winning mentality. So they will all have to align and make sure say and then do the right things. Our team, your friend and Newcastle United. Okay, there's another. Here we go. Latest, that's from Brentford for us. Player, your friend Mamadou Sangare. He's set for a medical today after a £41 million deal in place with RC Lam for Abrantiano. So Brentford, they reached a verbal agreement to sign player, your friend Mamadou Sangare. And that's a club record fee, don't forget. Mamadou Sangare, very, very solid player. Now he is moving from RC Lam to join team, my friend Brentford. And again, you can see another mid-table club or make it transfer. And for a team that is making a £41 million transfer as a record fee here, it tells you that they have a certain mentality and a reason why they are going for that player. And always keep your eyes on mid-table teams making some of these transfers and look at these players that they are bringing in. For all you know, between 1 to 2 to 3 years, these players are going to go through a different kind of development and they become very, very important in terms of resale value. And once they move from teams or joining ACC in the next 3 years, they will be moving for nothing less than 70, 80, 90 million pounds. And that is massive profit. That is massive investment. So again, when you look at transfers these days, always look at the fact that it is the ends justifying the means. Into player now, what do you want from the player, right? How do you intend to develop the player? And what plan or idea do you have for the player in terms of the future? Those are the things that will make you go and take a player. Maybe whatever the player is offering you now may not be equal to the value of the player. You get what I'm talking about? So you always need to have the bigger picture in mind about what you want to see from the player in the future and what plans you have for them in the future.